don't know. I don't know if I'll ever get it right. I'll always try though. Oy. Okay. Rough start. Let's get it going. Hey, hi, hello. It's me, Fiery Grace the Gifted. I am here with a twin flame reading. This is going to be an interesting session. I'm going to bless and shuffle. I feel like I'm all discombobulated. I just got done doing a pretty insane love letter. So I think I am discombobulated just a little bit. Okay. Let's do this. Where are you at? What'd you do today? Talk to us, people. Let's get the energy flowing. And of course, if you'd like, you can share something about yourself. Maybe sun, moon, rising, or a crazy fact that no one would ever guess. Okay, let's go. I just heard really loudly, not big enough. What if you were meant to shine? What if you were meant to be the star? Have you considered that? What if it all got better from here? Look at the 5D. This is crazy. There's that 7. Okay. Yeah. Your 5D is really not confident. I'm sorry, your 3D is really not confident, but your 5D is. And there may be a little bit of a sense of being held hostage by your 5D over I'm going to say the last parts of 2020, even a little bit into January. It's not going to be heavy, but it's definitely going to be like you really have to rely on God. Right? God, source, spirit, universe, whatever you believe in. You really have to rely on God in this time because what you think is ahead is not really what's ahead. And what you were marching into was going to just bring more chaos and confusion and really unhappiness. But where you're actually headed, because of, I feel it's just this creative spark that comes from almost being forced. It's like your 3D gets backed into a corner and your 5D all along has been trying to prepare you for this, but you just couldn't see it. This is interesting. And remember, this is both divine feminine and divine masculine. This is not just one or the other, but it does look like the divine feminine's creative spark is what's going to lead them out of the illusion of separation first. I get the sense here that that means that the divine feminine may have led them into the illusion of separation. And because there may be some false understanding of separation in the YouTube twin flame community, and perhaps just generally speaking, it may have created a false sense of security. Like, oh, I know where I'm at on my journey. I totally get it. I learned about twin flames. I figured out the steps because, every journey must be the same, right? Everyone must have to go through separation. I got it. I'm in separation. And it's like, what if that wasn't meant to be the vibe? And I have a feeling that many people are going into physical union, but more so as a collective whole. Most of us are going to leave spiritual separation by the end of 2020, which I think, as crazy as it feels, many of you I just felt that collective sigh of relief, which is strange because I think you feel strange about that. Like, it's not exactly what I want to hear, but Honestly, anything to take any toxic energy off of something I know is supposed to be sacred and beautiful. All right. Okay, again, everybody is leaving something behind right now in order to allow the abundance to come in and to settle into the new energy. Everyone, DF and DM. That's something to think about. Wow. Wow. Think about that. Divine masculine leaving something behind in order to pursue the abundance they thought they were already in pursuit of. They thought the plan and the path that they were already on was it. They were wrong. They understand that both in the 5D within as well as on an alignment scale, right? Looking around, they realize they were on the wrong path. Now, as they allow that period, again, we see a conclusion to something to come to an end. They what? They see that the missing piece has been love all along. We're seeing kind of, and it's interesting because it's not, the energy is not really that similar, but there's a common message or a common theme when it comes to the divine masculine, and you might all be saying, how is it possible for them to be so different moving forward? You know, I don't get that. And it's like, because love. And it's funny because so many of us as divine feminines, we completely know, value, believe in the power of love. And yet we get a little skeptical when it turns out that that's the thing that makes the divine masculine change. Oh, we believe it's what they need. Oh, we believe that, you know, it's what's missing. But to believe that that is what's going to make them have their shift is kind of like, well, what was wrong with the love I gave them? Okay, universe, I think maybe you might need to take a second look. I don't know if you really know what you're talking about, you know? Like, okay. All right, so, wow. Now, you want to know why I say wow? Because for the divine masculine, who I was drawn to first, you saw I kind of moved the decks, I was drawn to them. You see 3 and 8 of swords. That is the 10 of swords with that victory. But I believe the Ace of Cups is going to be their new sword. Loving, kind words. Ooh, you know what? Mr. Lightwork learned that. Mr. Lightwork had a very sharp tongue, and he was very witty. I mean, he still is very witty. You guys know. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you don't. But anyways, and so one of the things that he loved, as silly as it's going to sound, but this is kind of how he is, I think, in his like competitive masculinity. When he found out that you could, I guess, how do you say this? That you could respond in love and have maybe even a bigger reaction than you might have had in anger. You know how they say kill them with kindness? He loves it. So, I don't know why, but I kind of have this feeling that a lot of divine masculines, they may not approach it the same way that we do. They're going to see it from a more logical standpoint, like, okay, how can I use this love to my advantage? But they're still going to see it, value it, believe in it for the first time in many of their lives, if not in a very long time. Okay. We see divine masculine with the 3 of swords, unbreak my heart. I'm working on the things that have kept me in the shadows, in the darkness, and away from finally having that lucky step forward. That second chance that isn't just a second chance to do the same thing wrong, right? But to actually have a life that's worth something, to have a better time, to be more powerful in spite of, not because of something I gained, right? That's harder to keep and to maintain consistency with. But if I can be strong in spite of, if I can be powerful in spite of everything I'm not, if I can start to learn about the power and the resilience that comes from everything I've been through, maybe that's what I can build my foundation on. Is turning my scars into stars. There again is that star. There again is that energy of I was afraid, I wasn't sure. Lots of young page energy. I'm new to this. I'm new to this experience. I'm new to these next steps. But also a lot of night And I get the sense of it's not going to look like the Knight of Swords, meaning it's not going to look like the highly skilled knight. It's going to look more like the Knight of Wands, which is things kind of naturally falling into place, almost like magic, like the cool hero where things just, they walk by and something hits the guy in the head that was running behind them, and you're like, how did he even do that, right? Or it's going to look like, I get the sense the Seven of Swords, which is like the hero kind of behind the scenes, accidentally making things happen, but it doesn't really look good. My point is, this may not be the smoothest time for the divine masculines, but it's going to be a point where they start to see that things are not always against them. Things are not always going to be going the wrong way for them, that there is a chance for something new and for it to be beautiful, for it to, again, have this flair and this essence of excitement because it's finally positive. It's finally something, and the real truth here is the only reason that it's like that is because they're finally going into their purpose, and things fall together when you do that. It's not really because of anything they've done or haven't done. It's just a part of the process of going into your purpose. So very interesting to see the last piece of the puzzle is to leave behind the things that have brought us those very icky, negative emotions that have created the illusions in our life, that have blocked us from seeing the prosperity that's incoming, to help us to settle in on the right path. And the divine masculine is going about it in a way that says, I'm ready for love to approach. I'm preparing for the inflow of love. So what's up with the DF? Well, would you look at that? DF is on top of it. You are on top of it. In the 3D, you are, if not already there, you are preparing. It's like you're using the cosmic energy. Now, okay, I will say that there are some of you, if you're in a low vibration, you may be right now caught up with everything going on in the world. I will say that. You may be a little bit too caught up in that. But if you are able to maintain kind of spiritual chill, then you are going to be able to see beyond all that and to start to look around and say, I have these last few months, I'm starting to notice a pattern. I'm starting to notice that I can kind of predict the energy. Things, they're calling everything, like they're calling it pandemic fatigue, right? Or lockdown fatigue. People are kind of desensitized to a lot of things right now, and maybe you're not in that same space of fear anymore. So you're feeling a little bit more on it. But overall, I think the collective as a whole is saying it doesn't matter anymore if my DM is ready for me. It doesn't matter anymore if I'm in separation or not. I honestly, I just can't do this anymore. So that first wave, and again, I know that there are previous waves of twin flames, but I'm talking about the revival that's happening in the collective whole as of the past few years. This big new awakening for a lot of twin flames that started with the divine feminines. And that first wave, meaning the people who found out again 2017, 2018, 2019, and are kind of coming into this fullness right at the same time, when they go into 2021, they are going to be bringing the good news, bringing the message, and it's going to be through their light work, through their purpose. Many of you will have channels and blogs and start writing, and some of you will be in your own the jobs that you do, kind of talking to people about things, being there for those divine appointments and having those providential conversations. That's words, provident, whatever. All these things are going to start to occur because you decide, I'm ready for my purpose. And it's because of some energy that you're tapping into right now. So we see a lot of swords and pentacles, which is, think about like Capricorn, Libra. I don't know why that's what I'm feeling. Capricorn and Libra. Almost like I see scales of justice, but I also see this hardworking, really focused, almost solemn and stern energy. It's kind of the energy that says, I'm done being tired. I'm done being overwhelmed. I have to be really rational here. It's very high level divine feminine, divine masculine energy, but it's kind of like, almost like elder energy, right? Like the energy of a king and queen that are not maybe in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, but maybe king and queen that are in their like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, like people who've been doing this for a while. So it's very interesting to see what you're tapping into. All right, let's keep going here because that 11 to start was very intriguing. Yep, preparing, clearing the way. Well, look at you. So both divine counterparts, Ten of Swords. We were aware that there is something coming to a conclusion. And that's interesting. Both. Okay, hold on. Finish. Look at this. You know, every time I do an alignment reading, well, is it every time? I don't know. I feel like this has happened before, though. To do a divine alignment reading and end up with the same numbers and the same two, what did I tell you? Swords, Pentacles. Swords, I understand we've got the Queen of Wands here. That is the energy that's coming in, and this is how we're going to make use of it. But to see that this is what we're working on, and to see both of us are in this kind of divine, again, this is pretty wild. It's like the divine masculine is about to do something in the 3D to make a shift. The divine feminine is about to do something in the 5D to make a shift. Perhaps the divine feminine leaves the inner, oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's coming. Hold on, guys. The divine feminine leaves behind the illusion of separation. The divine masculine leaves behind the illusion of, what would you call that? Lack. And the illusion that, how would you say this? Long story short, you guys know how they feel. They have their heart tied a little bit too much to Pentacles energy, and they're letting that go. So they're getting rational where they need to. The divine feminine's getting rational where they need to. This is where the high level balancing is happening. This is pretty insane to get started. And a special treat that you guys were not aware of, and I did this on purpose to make sure that the chat wasn't overflowing with repeating messages. I was told that I was actually supposed to do this yesterday, and then the power went out last night in our whole neighborhood. Like, it was not just even our complex. It was, I mean, for pretty much like a mile around us. No, that's like a half a mile. So yes, it was very interesting that right when, it was perfect timing. We had already kind of put everything away. Mr. Lightwork was about to go to bed. Like, we were just about to transition into the next phase, and then the power goes out for 4 hours, you know? So very interesting that this needed to happen today. You who are here right now, some of you are just going to arrive, needed to see this. And then, you know, just look what we've got. Okay? Because this to me says 11, we have 11 again, and there's just something happening right now that makes me feel like, let's not miss this, right? Let's not forget. Let's not allow our ego to stop us. So let's open ourselves up to this. Let's allow what's supposed to happen, because this is, again, that kind of divine providence moment where this is something that you definitely are going to need to see if you're here, okay? Because it wasn't even supposed to happen this way. That being said, if you are a member, you're going to be able to submit your questions, okay? I am asking for everyone to submit a question for the collective, not for yourself. If you ask a personal question and then you start to repeat it over and over and over again, I will probably just block you. But if you ask a question for the collective, so I see only there's one member who's been in the chat so far. I did add an additional tier of membership because I had a few people who said, Grace, I really want to support the channel. I was a member, but then I had to stop being a member this month because I just can't do $10 right now. So I made a membership that's like $1.99 or something like that. So if you are interested in being a part of it, please do. But if not, then whoever's here, you were meant to ask the question. So members, please, those of you who are present, or also mods if you're here, please do ask some questions. I'm going to get this set up to pull, and I just want to grab a couple last little pieces of information. We're going to look at the unasked question before we move forward. So let's see what we got here. So look what shows up again. Seven of Swords is the main energy. So again, the change of plans happens because this is needed. The change of plans happen. Well, I guess this is backwards. I should say that the change of plans causes the creative shift. The change of plans makes the creative shift possible. And it's almost like they're connected to each other. One wouldn't be possible without the other, which to me says there is a very divine energy of a plan right there. This is and I mean, I understand we're saying revision of plans, but what I mean is like there was this specific thing that divine said, okay, at this exact moment, I need these two things to cause each other. Very, very intriguing to me. And then what do we have here in the 5D? What are we missing about this? The moon. Now we have a blue moon. Remember the Pentacles energy is that Taurus. I'm just, be careful, pay attention, see what you need to see in this reading, because there is going to be a lot of people whose the next steps of their union journey get set off because of that moon and what occurs around there. I see a lot of contact and communication happening around the full moon. And it's funny because normally on Halloween, and forgive me for being so crass sometimes, but I'm just pretty open and honest about what goes on in the community because, you know, I got clients and I also am a human person who's been there. Typically on Halloween, what happens? Most people go to parties, most people go, they do things, right? There's big events, but this year, right? Who knows if that's going to happen? A lot of things this year have allowed for there to be communication, for there to be contact, okay? And I think it's pretty cool because this Halloween with the energy, with the moon, right? It's a blue moon on top of it. It's right before what could be a very tumultuous time for certain areas of the world. All of these things are happening right around these moments for who? For the twin flames. And why? For them to be able to come into union. Because instead of your divine counterpart being able to go out to a party or doing whatever they might normally do on Halloween, they might be in the house talking about Netflix and chill. You know what I mean? And again, forgive me for being crass, but it's the truth. A lot of us, the way we come into contact is because there's boredom, there's no distractions, or there's this sense of, I've been trying to avoid you on purpose and now I just can't. So the boredom and the no distractions have forced me to just give in. So just keep that in mind. Okay. All right. If, by the way, if for some reason, I don't know what's going on, can you guys ask questions or no? Is it being weird? I hope. I don't know what's really happening, to be honest with you guys. But I just want to make sure. Hold on. Let's finish this. I told you. See, people don't believe, but they believe the cards. I always think it's kind of funny. So seeing the 10 of Cups show up in the back for the Divine Masculine, that's the second time we've seen the number 10 for them. But the fact that it's the 10 of Cups after I told you, what did I see? I see 10 of Swords, Ace of Cups. I said, okay, the Ace of Cups is going to be the victory sword that they use to step into their purpose and leave behind a previous cycle. And what do? You see them finding their happiness. Now let's go to Divine Feminine. 5 of Wands in reverse. This is a leveling up. This is a maturing. And I wonder if this maturing is actually talking about you as a Divine Feminine. Does this mean that if you're maturing as a Divine Feminine, you must have been immature? No. It's not what it means, okay? Can you guys type? Oh, okay, you can type. Okay, good. I was going to say, I'm not seeing any questions. So members, if you can ask questions, please, for the collective while I set this up. But it's interesting, Divine Feminine. It is. And you know what? Look at this. You see how I say I believe it's the Divine Feminine who's going to be the one to bring in the, Knight of Pentacles is underneath this. This is absolutely true. What's under that? 3 of Cups. And there's that balance again. Okay, absolutely. The Divine Feminine is going to be the one who brings in a creative solution and brings in the Divine Spark, which again, we know the Divine Feminine is the Divine Spark. The fact that the Divine Feminine comes up with the 3 of Pentacles kind of, it's the team card, but it's also the Divine Rookie New Beginning card. So interesting to see both of these. And then here with the 5 of Wands, now we're bringing back probably the only other like wand we've really seen. Lots of movement energy, but more focused on wand court. And now it's like, oh, but don't forget about this. Don't forget. And remember, whoa, this is freaking me out. There's so many messages. The 5 of Wands it's the children of the court. It's like the little princes that if you look at the 5 of Wands, a meaning in even the Rider-Waite booklet will say could also mean gold, gain, and opulence. It's also about the legacy. And I think that the Divine Feminine's legacy and what the spiritual baby they will leave on this earth. Even all those things are shifting. This is wild. Okay, so seeing all of this makes me feel like the divine feminine is leveling up, not to say from a level of being immature, but leveling up in the royal sense. This could be going from princess to queen, right? We did see the Nine of Pentacles. This could be going from like not necessarily a lower vibrational, but maybe a lower level Queen of Pentacles and going up a little bit more sensible in our approach, a little bit more understanding of how to do our light work. So again, this will be my last time asking. This is the first time I've ever opened up to the chat to ask free questions for the collective and not a single person is answering. So either I can't see them from the video I'm watching or you guys aren't asking questions and that must be, I'm not supposed to do it. Isn't it interesting? Like I said, the power went out yesterday. I feel really strongly called to it, and yet I'm not getting anything. Very weird. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Alrighty. Is that it? Yep. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Whoa. Woo. Well. Woo. I feel like all right. That goes with that. Okay. Okay. There's that. Ooh. Okay. That is going to be J. Renee. That's for you. That came out right as I saw that. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Ooh, is that? Okay. Okay. All right. We are getting somewhere. Okay, people. So I'm just going to start delivering the messages as they come. And I'm trying to think, should I show these now or later? Let's show these later. Okay. Alrighty. We're good now. I'm happy. So who do we got here? Hello, Bella Johnson, the teacher, Shawnee B. What's up, everybody? Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here. Thank you to all the members who've been supporting the channel. What up, Mario? Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for being here, you guys, and for always being around. Make sure you check out the community tab from time to time just to see if there's any free stuff in there for you. New content, all that. All right. First thing that I want to look at is what is the overall vibe that we're walking into, right? We need this creative spark. There is something that the entire twin flame community is in need of, and each of us is going to receive this. I don't know. I just see kind of this explosion, but it's almost like the Eureka light bulb. It's very interesting. I guess, yeah, creative explosion. Is that a good way to put it? But there's a reason for it. And it, to me, when you think about creativity and you think about a journey, it's like, I'm going to need that creativity for my journey in a time where there's a solution that's missing. So we see that there could be some bumps in the road ahead. Unfortunately, when someone says that in a reading, I don't know about you, but I go, oh, it's over. It's all bad. And I just like, that's not what I mean. When I mean bumps in the road, I just mean it's not going to be what you expect the whole way through. Just be prepared for that. So what is it that we need to understand about what we're walking into? The reason we're being given this. What is it that we're going to need to be resolving? 10 of Cups. Trustworthy relationships. resolution of trust issues, a contented and rewarding family life. This is not just about coming together. This is about everything that family is supposed to be. And right now, some of you want to be with a counterpart that is not going to be able to really offer you that life, to be your family, to reciprocate not just love, but even things that provide contentment, joy, peace, etc. Your emotional and material needs are met. These are things that have to be included, right? Because think about it. What about people who complain, oh, my parents were really rich and I never had this isn't every rich family and it's not every poor family either, right? But, oh, my family was really rich. I never really got to see my dad because he worked so much. So, just because you have a lot doesn't mean that you're happy, right? And then, someone who might not have had a lot might have said, yeah, I didn't even know I was poor. That was me. I didn't even know that we were poor because we had so much love or family time and gatherings and all that. I didn't know that we weren't really like the best or most well off. And so this is a matter of saying everyone's different. Everyone needs different things. And the divine counterparts in each different unique twin flame relationship need to figure out what issues they have with each other, because not everybody has a karmic situation or, a horrible separation. Sometimes it's just like the person isn't really ready to be together, right? It doesn't always have to mean, oh yeah, it's been so bad, or there's all kinds of things that go into a person's life. When you combine two people, those make unique combinations. And right now, the goal is just figuring out how can we make sure that the way we come together uniquely, we find a way to get a little bit creative about our approach and to say, instead of just giving up, that's how people end up divorced. Some people shouldn't have gotten married, shouldn't be together. Some people get divorced because it's like, I don't feel like putting in the effort required to be with you. I don't think I care enough. I don't have enough motivation to try. And that is what you guys need to be trying to figure out how to avoid even now. So some of you, the reason why you're not going to be able to get together yet is because you're just going to rub each other the wrong way. Some people, you're not going to be able to get together yet because you need to figure out for yourself what it is you really want. And if you get together at the wrong time, you might put together some bad expectations, a few false narratives where you think it's what you want, but then you realize, actually, I just needed to heal from this. It's not even really important to me, So there's a lot that is going to go into the next couple of months. And again, even going into January, kind of talking about like those New Year's resolutions, but it's almost like new decade resolutions, right? The next 10 years are going to have a major impact. The energy now is going to have a major impact on the next 10 years of your life. So we're getting this creative burst. We're getting this energy of, really feeling good and seeking out solutions to problems that we may have been avoiding for a long time. These are the things that maybe part of the maturing that's going to occur is the things that we've been avoiding dealing with. But all in all, to me, it's a good feeling. And I think the divine masculine, this is what they've been avoiding dealing with. Being happy again, not necessarily because of things, but just having a general like base level happiness is something that they've avoided, because to them, they've told themselves a lie that says it's only possible to achieve that happiness if I have XYZ tangible. And if I tell myself that that's not really true and that there's other things that make me happy, I might lose the only motivation I have to pursue this journey and this path that I really don't like, but somehow I've convinced myself I have to be on. I know that might sound backwards, but some of you are like, oh my gosh, that's my DM. Okay. And so now some of them are going to kind of have these dreams ripped away, have these karmic situations crumble and show them all the bad things that, they've been ignoring. All these things are about to start to occur over the next few weeks and months. And just remember this, 2020, it is shaking the tree. This is what's been happening right? It's shaking the tree. And the tree is not going to be done being shaken until everything that's supposed to come out comes out. And so the more you hold on instead of just letting it fall, right? The harder whoever is shaking the tree is going to keep shaking the tree. They're not going to give up on this. And I just want you as the divine feminines to realize you can seek your happiness, you can seek your joy, you can level up and let go of some of the things that you've been holding on to, even though it might not feel like you're doing any harm or you're doing anything wrong, or that you need to, reassess your beliefs. The divine masculine, in the same way, needs to say, hey, it's okay for me to be happy with things that aren't necessarily what I've told myself is the only thing that's going to make me happy. So creative solutions are coming in to make sure that we're not having, I know this is going to sound dramatic, but basically not having like heart attacks in a couple years. And you're like, whoa, Grace, that's very specific. And it's like, what I mean is stress kills. And we have not been happy for a long time, not truly. And I think that divine, God, source, spirit, universe is saying, I just want you to be happy. And sometimes what has to happen is a tragedy. I don't know about you guys, but those of you who lived in America, who've been in America or from America or lived here for a while, do you remember how together we were for like a few years after 9/11? Do you know what's going to happen once we all start going back outside again in the next couple weeks, months, years, whenever the heck it is? Do you know how different things are going to be because of this? That was 9/11. That was a few thousand people. That was, I mean, it hit hard. It was, a whole thing. Patriotism and all that went crazy. So did other stuff. But think about my main point. Let's ignore the some of the crap that we don't. But okay, right? The good stuff that happened is about to happen on a global scale. On a global scale, so many people in this world are about to say, when I go back out, when the world opens back up, I just want to be happy. Because sitting at home with all the stuff that I'd been avoiding, sitting at home with the people who I had been trying to just justify their behavior, whatever I sat through in lockdown, whether it was fear lockdown, spiritual lockdown, physical lockdown, not being able to actually leave, whatever it was gross, and I don't want to deal with it anymore. Not after this, and I won't do it for another decade. I won't. So lots of shifts, lots of changes. All right, so I'm going to go here to the questions in the chat. Let's start with any cautions about a sexual relationship with your DM when you are not in union. Now, I will tell you from personal experience, not experience as being in the environment, but as the personal experience of having homeboys, like really long-term good guy friends, cousins, just being around males who were very open with me and like didn't feel like they had to hide their escapades and their shenanigans. Just know that sometimes divine masculines, and again, I'm not just talking about male, I'm talking about female as well, can have a bit of a playgirl, playboy, player approach to life. And sometimes it's how you're going to get together. Like Mr. Lightwork and I think we're able to work things out because we did not allow that to stop us. In fact, we kind of played off of the sensual energy between us. And so it worked. It worked out, Somehow or another, I seduced him so great that he was like, I don't want nobody else. So for some, it works. For others, it's going to be the thing that keeps getting you ghosted. And so just remember that, okay? Just remember that not every person is the same, but the ones who are players kind of have a very similar playbook. And you can kind of expect that what you think is happening probably is. If you're just assuming they're a player because they're, a guy or whatever you see them as, that's not real. But if you know that's what they're doing, if they've been very open and honest with you, they're telling you that's what's up, just stop ignoring what's right in front of you. 2 of Swords, blindfold off. 8 of Swords, blindfold off. No more of that, okay? Now, when J. Renee typed that question, these cards popped out like instantaneously, so we're going to go here. So here's a little message. We're going to just go straight through it. Okay, I think this says, make sure that when it comes to, again, this is about a sex relationship, maybe friends with benefits. I don't know exactly. There's all kinds of different ways that you can incorporate physical intimacy and not being in a relationship or not even being in union. Because some of you can be in union, meaning you live together, boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife, whatever, but you're not in union because you're not on the same page. Maybe the relationship isn't going the way you want it to be. So it doesn't necessarily just mean that, if you're friends with benefits. This is talking about how to approach that sacred bond and intimacy when you are not in a good space with your person. So this is for anybody, okay? 8 of Cups says, ask yourself what emotions are coming into that. So sometimes we allow, I'm mad at you, I'm desperate for your energy. There's all kinds of things that will make us vulnerable and make us slip up and make us engage in physical intimacy when we're really not ready, because we understand that emotionally speaking, we are way too attached. And so this says be very cautious about adding to the emotions that you're already having trouble dealing with, okay? Six of Wands in reverse. Don't think that doing this is going to put a ring on it. Don't think that doing this is going to drive the journey forward. And don't think that doing this is going to make the divine masculine come towards you. Okay. If you're going to approach, I think what they're saying right now is keep your emotions out of it. And if you can't, then don't do it. But let's keep going. Let's see, because there might be more or less to it. And then, okay, Eight of Wands in reverse again. Don't think that this is a way to get communication. Okay. Again, if you're going to be manipulative and approach a situation that's out of balance and try to bring it into balance, don't be surprised if it goes the wrong way. And I think what this is saying is pretty clear. If you're going to have an intimate relationship with your divine counterpart, if you're going to give them time, if you're going to give them attention, if you're going to give them money, resources, a place to live, all the possible things that you might have to give to them in an experience like that or a situation like that, don't do it to get what you want, because you're not going to get it how you want it. It's like wishing with a genie and not realizing that genies are tricksters, jinn tricksters. So the final part of this message says, listen, your divine counterpart is new to this. So no matter what happens, whether this is your true person or not, whether you're meant to start things off having a physical relationship or not, whether you're meant to engage in physical, intimacy during separation or not, no matter what happens, just remember this. Your divine counterpart is new to this whole deal, is new and may not even know anything. They might be completely in the dark about twin flames. They are not going to approach physical intimacy the same way that you're going to approach physical intimacy. And once you can understand that, a lot of you are going to be like, oh, I know that. It's like, okay, great. No problem. I'm happy that you know that. But I want you to just take a moment and really say, so what does that mean? It's not that I know it. What does it mean? What does it mean for this point in my partnership? Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and put these down and we'll leave this here. Okay. Let's look at what's our next question. Should DF try to avoid contact while DM is figuring out what they're trying to figure out? Ooh. Okay. I'm actually going to go to divine here. We're going to go right here. What's this about? Six of Wands. Victory, good news is on its way, public recognition or awards. And what this tells me, and you can even look, this is interesting. There's a person right here, okay? And it's almost like, this is going to sound silly, but it's almost like an air traffic controller. Like, yep, right along, move it this way, keep it moving there. But remember, the Six of Wands, this person is in their victory, but they're alone. And in the Rider Waite, you actually see that, and remember how earlier I said here, like, don't think it's going to put a ring on it? It wasn't to be like, don't give up the cookie, extramarital, premarital, that. It wasn't about that. It was because on the Six of Wands, the character in the Rider Waite is holding a staff or a rod or a wand, right, with a laurel wreath around it, which to me signifies almost like crowning your queen. It's the victory crown that says, I've won you, I've won your favor, and I've won, the rest of our lives together, basically. This is different though. This to me says this is you. And this to me says, if you want the laurel wreath of victory, if you want the good things, if you want the public recognition to experience all the things that go along with being in a relationship and having these moments, then I think this doesn't say avoid them. I think this just says move forward, right? This says don't stop moving just because you haven't received contact. Don't stop moving, waiting around for contact. But I think this also says it doesn't mean that some of you necessarily mean to like block your person. That maybe you should, but I don't think you have to avoid it. I just think you don't need to be waiting, sitting, and thinking that if you're not in the same place, they're going to not be able to find you or something. This is not the first century and there's no cell phones and there's no airplanes. It's like they will find you. No matter where you go in this world, they will be able to access you. So continue forward on your journey, and there may be points where here and there they pop in, they're on the same road as you. There may be points where you find a message in a bottle along the way, right? But no matter what, keep going forward. So, should you avoid contact while your DM is trying to figure out what they're trying to figure out? You don't have to avoid it. Just make sure you're not avoiding your own responsibilities, claiming that you're avoiding contact. Okay. What's next? No more questions. Alrighty, so I'm going to just start pulling random things. What is it that the divine masculine is not able to articulate right now to the divine feminine? What is it in the 3D that the divine masculine is having trouble explaining about the present energy, about what's currently going on? 6 of Pentacles. It's the way that they've been feeling and the way that they have decided to approach life. I think that many of them are aware that you're going to be a little bit skeptical. Like Mr. Lightwork keeps having to remind me, it's not every day, but it's frequently enough that I remember it's a lot, to, stop treating his behavior like he is who he was a year ago, 3 years ago. You know what I mean? And it's funny because even still, I'll catch myself and be like, well, okay, you used to. And it's like, listen. I know what I used to do. I know how I used to behave. But the thing is, DF, I started noticing people. I noticed you. I noticed the person down the road. I noticed my coworker. I noticed my family. I'm starting to notice people. I'm starting to see that I'm not the only person going through things. I'm starting to not just notice the things that I can be jealous of, right? I think the divine masculines really noticed flashy or like, okay, some DMs are not necessarily into gold chains or watches or, nice cars. Some of them are like, they see a certain someone with a Harley they like and they're mad. Like, oh, that was supposed to be my Harley 20 years ago. And they get so grumpy. And so it's like they were looking around at the people around them and thinking, meh. But now they're looking around at people going, you might have that Harley, but I don't know what work you put in to get that. If you were my friend and I knew how much work you put into it, I'd probably be proud of you. Wow, my neighbor is so annoying and they're always loud with their kids, but dang, I just realized, that's a single mom or a single dad over there, right? It's like all of a sudden they didn't just see the stuff that pissed them off. Now they see everything. And they need you to understand that they see you too. But they don't know how to say that to you because they kind of feel silly for not noticing all this time. And now that they're starting to pay attention, they're starting to see their path. They're starting to see their purpose. They're starting to see how the journey needs to shift. And some of them are embarrassed because you've said this for a long time and they should have changed a long time ago. Some of them are embarrassed because they're just the type of person to get embarrassed. You know what I mean? And to really be hard on themselves and assume you're making fun of them and judging them even if you aren't. There's a lot of hesitation to tell you how much has changed in them, partially, even though they believe you, even though I think they know that it's just, oh man, they believe that you would be able to see it and figure it out if they had the time to show you. But some of them feel like they want to make sure that it's really happening. There's a lot of different reasons why this is happening, why they're unable to tell you things have changed. So I'm trying to because I keep getting all these different examples. I'm seeing these people, divine masculines. And I know I'm seeing people because I'm not just seeing I don't know, standard stick figure guys in my head. I'm seeing people, men and women all over, divine masculines all over, just have these moments for different reasons, but it's big. It's impacting everything they are. And this is where they're getting the love. This is where it's happening. So to me, what that says is, okay, well, that's actually true too, because Mr. Lightwork experienced that as well. So, okay, this is confirmation. A lot of you are trying to figure out how that that Ace of Cups is becoming the Ace of Sword, right? The Sword of Victory. How is the divine masculine suddenly seeing love as being valuable? It's because they started to look around, they started to see people, and they're finally getting involved in causes. 2020 opened up the whole world for causes, right? Because all a lot of us could do is like sit around and watch TV and, you know, see, oh, that's injustice. Oh, that's terrible. I want to support that. Oh, this fire or that earthquake or that flood or that storm or that, you know, protest. It's like it didn't matter what side you're on. Everybody kind of found a thing. A lot of light workers try to stay out of the 3D, right? But if you're not really aware, or if that's part of your light work or your purpose, or again, if you're just kind of a part of everything in the 3D, not really knowing that there's another dimension to exist in, you see these things and you pursue them, and it can be really, really powerful and life changing. So these people are developing causes for the first time in a lot of their lives. Not only are they noticing people, but they're noticing where they can see themselves, right? Ah, okay. Their love may be coming through as empathy, just so you know. I don't know why, but some of you needed to know that. Some of you needed confirmation just now that your person is also an empath, because you are too. Okay, there's too many messages. I got to move on from this. I can't even talk. I got to move on. Okay, I got to move on. Oh my goodness gracious. There's so much stuff. Okay, anybody ask? Oh, we got a question. Hello, Crystal. Is it okay to send uplifting messages and they don't respond? Okay. I have a feeling we're going to go to the divine feminine place here. I think there might be multiple messages for that specific query. Okay. I feel like I was supposed to go here, but I'm realizing that it's not that I need to pick up the energy and look at the energy of this deck. It's that I'm supposed to say to you guys, when you're deciding on whether or not to send an uplifting message, whether it's in the 5D, in the 3D, sharing a specific meme you know they're going to see on social media, whatever, ask yourself what your frame of mind is, like what your intention is in that moment. Just check your energy, check your vibration. Are you fearful? Like, because some of you, you'll feel their fear. So 5 minutes ago, you were fine. You were having a great day. Everything's great. And then all of a sudden, you get overwhelmed and you're like, this is not me. This is my divine counterpart. Make sure that before you make that post, you get out of the fear first. I feel like a bunch of you just got a message right there. A bunch of you just realized that some of the work that you were doing before, the work was futile because you were in their energy trying to help them. So, okay, good to know. Let's keep going. Now, is it okay to send uplifting messages? Let's answer that first. 8 of Cups in reverse. If you're going to do it, make sure it's not with any emotion involved. So first and foremost, make sure you're not expecting a response, because that expectation is going to breed pain if they don't respond to you. All right. So if you're going to send an uplifting message, it needs to be, I am sending this with the intention of sending you good energy. Whether I get it back, I'm not asking for it. This is just, that's it. Another message here says, don't send your energy to them. So already you should have made sure you're in a good space, right? We just established that, check your energy. But now it's saying, don't put your energetic 2 cents into their situation or what you assume they're going through, because sometimes you think you know more about what your divine masculine is going through in the present because you've told yourself you know them so well, your readers are all completely accurate, and there's no possible way they might have misunderstood the energy or, misspoke on a certain thing or just simply could not deliver and decipher the precise imagery that they were being provided with, right? So it's like, no, everything's perfect. I know exactly what they're going through. I'm going to send this message with just laced with assumptions, my own intentions, trying to get them into my own the things I've been trying to manifest in them. I want them to change, right? They're not good enough, or they're not right how they are. So what I've been doing is I've been manifesting on their behalf. I've been doing the work for them. They just need to just give in to my effort, please. So now as I send this message, that's just a part of my plan I've already been working on, which is trying to make you different and trying to change you. Don't do that. Make sure that the message flows, again, uplifting for the moment and has nothing to do with your personal choices, decisions, needs, wants, none of that. Okay? So that's the first step. Do not add to the negativity. Do not create negative karma. Do not make anything worse. Do not use this as an excuse to reach out. If you're sending uplifting energy, whether it's in the physical, in the 3D, in the 5D, on social media, whatever it is that you choose to do, make sure that the energy is absolutely pure. Pure white, violet flame, pure. Whatever you got to do, pure. Okay? All right. So that's the first step. I also hear avoid doing it at night. All right, next. Now, if they don't respond, or if there is for some reason still a lingering pain, if I as the divine feminine feel in the 3D that I'm missing something, I need to do more, but I also know I shouldn't, what do I do? 11, focus on yourself. Use the energy you're receiving as inspiration. Some of you should have started your light work a long time ago. Some of you could have used the experiences that you've had with your divine counterpart as fuel. You could have written a book by now, a fiction book, a nonfiction book, a story of your union. You could have written a blog. You could have started a YouTube channel. You could have done a bunch of videos. You could have helped a twin flame in need nearby you by sharing your experience and whatever. There's a lot of things you could have done by turning the energy that you got in, whether it was inspiration energy. I don't know about you, but like I get this burst of joy when I know I just made somebody smile, or, you know, like when I send someone a surprise or something I know is going to make them happy, like out of nowhere, I will like tear up just thinking about them having that moment. I can't help it. So it's like, why don't we take that energy of excitement or joy or happiness or whatever and turn that into something positive? So when you're feeling like, I need to hear from them, that wasn't enough. I sent the uplifting message. Secretly, I did want them to respond and I made a mistake, and now I'm miserable. Now I will not stop thinking about the fact that they didn't respond to me for the next 3 weeks straight, and I'm going to be super upset and anxious. Turn that into something. Some of you are musicians, poets, artists. Turn it into something. Remember the creative spark. The fact that this shows up as 11, and you see, it's the Ace of Cups in reverse. This says, do not use your love to continue to shoot, love arrows and love darts at your divine counterpart. Switch it up, change things up a little bit. Focus your energy elsewhere. Focus it on the seed that you planted. It's almost like saying, oh, it's telling you to tend to your own garden, okay? Tend your own garden. So when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel frustrated, when you feel like it's not enough, when you feel like you need to do more, when you feel like secretly, maybe it wasn't that you felt their energy, but it might have just been you felt this overwhelming sense that you just needed them, as sometimes might come over you, and maybe you might just need to acknowledge that that's the case sometimes. Take a moment and say, how can I use this angst that I feel, this relentless nervous energy or whatever this is, or even this, I'm just bursting at the seams with love. I'm not even desperate. I'm good. I know they got to go through their thing. I've been doing my thing, but I'm just bursting. Tend your own garden. Focus on your own thing. Spend some time with your light work. Devote yourself to what it is that you could have been doing all along and feel guilty about from time to time because you keep neglecting it. Okay? All right. And how will you benefit from that in the 3D? How will you benefit from taking a little bit more of a detached approach with your 3D communication and contact, or even the 5D communication and contact that still might not be coming back the way you want it to? How will you be able to see the good that comes from making this shift? Like, how is this going to show up in your life? So 4 of Cups, this says the discontent that comes from this feeling, you guys have heard me talk about this before. So again, this is insane. I'm kind of freaking out. This is not just like fiery grace coaching. This is God using me in my divine nature as a coach to send you beautiful messages. I pray to God you're hearing this. Every single one of you that's listening right now, please listen. The discontent that is put into your soul when things just don't feel right in your life, that creates innovation. That breeds new creative vibes. This is not meant to make you feel bad. This is not meant to hurt you. In fact, for some of you, this really is meant for you to be able to be there for your divine counterpart and then get a blessing from that offering, okay? So if you feel bad after, then you might have done part one of your job, and then part two might be, okay, now follow up and do a little bit more in terms of what you should be focusing on, your joy, your happiness. Because remember, we're learning to have that individually rather than expecting that it's going to come from a counterpart or even from money or whatever, okay? So first things first is you're going to see and understand that those moments of anxiety and feeling like you're just antsy, right? Ants in the pants, okay? You're going to remember from now on, Fiery Grace told me that this is meant to get me to get up and do something. This feeling of just waiting around is it's not enough anymore. And now God is putting this fire in me that says, get up and go. I don't have to feel bad. I don't have to be scared. I'm ready. Thanks, Grace. Thanks for the reminder. Thanks, God, for telling Grace to tell me. Got it. So first step, we're no longer going to get frustrated and sad and go, yeah, I know my DM is depressed. I sent them a message and then afterwards I felt even worse and I got really sad and I've been depressed for 3 days now. It's like, what? No. Now we understand, the extra moment afterwards where we still don't feel good is because we're not done. That was step one. Step one was get the inspiration to do something for our DM. Step two was to continue that inspiration and use it and turn it into something more. Okay? All right? Now what? 9 of Wands. It's also going to help you build up a barrier of endurance to where you can go long distances without needing that, refill of love from your divine counterpart. There could be points moving forward in the relationship, even when you're in union, where they just can't be everything you need them to be. If you know that's the case, if you know that's the reality of what, especially for those of you who are aware that your divine counterpart is only just awakening and may need some extra time, even while you're in union, to kind of get things together, you're going to need to be able to block out those feelings and that desperation or that obsession, or even just down to, the helicopter, the hovering, the need to be all up in their business. It's like, no, you need to be able to focus on your own thing. You need to be able to protect and guard your own dreams and your own purpose and what you're supposed to be doing. Because you have an individual journey, as does your divine counterpart, as well as the shared mission. So you're learning now how to make sure that that is not forgotten. Okay? And the final step, the final thing, 8 of Wands in reverse. This says that you're not going to experience the delays or the feeling of delay anymore, not the same way. This is a very karmic energy and I'm getting right now from this. It's like this sense, I wonder if it's even saying the fear in the sense of telling yourself, oh, that must be the karmic, that must be the karmic, that must be the karmic. Why is that? I guess because if you're reaching out and they're not responding, you assume it must be the karmic every time. And it's like, sometimes it's not even that. And so there's this kind of, I just heard seeds of doubt. And I guess it's this energy of by not allowing yourself to go into like the deep, dark depression that might come after sending a positive message and then having to kind of pull back and just not do anything else. By avoiding that, you're avoiding planting seeds and sowing seeds and reaping the energy of those seeds of negative thinking, of assuming there's something going on when there isn't, planting negativity onto your divine counterpart's behaviors or thoughts or intentions when that's not really what's happening. It's going to stop a lot of, it's bringing me back to the divine feminine, the 5 that we saw. The 5 of Wands said divine feminine is maturing. And I think what this is saying is you're like a superhero. I saw this superhero show on Netflix maybe was it last year, a couple years ago? I don't remember now. But there was this show where I think it was called Raising Dion. And I hate to give away spoilers. So if you're listening to this right now or you're going to watch it later, just like plug your ears for a second or fast forward the video. But in this show, there's a kid who they realize has superpowers and he does not know how to use them. And they show kind of the more realistic side of having superpowers. It's almost like, I guess, even in Spider-Man, where he's first figuring out how to work everything. and maybe like falling off of a tall building because he didn't do his web slinger right, that kind of thing. And it's this feeling like you are this superhero in training right now. And you sometimes, from being in the twin flame community around all these other superheroes, you get this sense of like superiority, like to the one who has great power, is also given great responsibility. And you get all hoity-toity, and maybe not always, but sometimes you get a little in that feeling of, I have so much that I have to offer and must do. And it's like, listen, you don't even know how to shoot your lasers yet. Stop acting like you know what's going on. And so again, not to insult you, not to claim that you're a big spiritual baby, but simply to say that you need to assess the situation and think about the fact that you might have gotten some new power this year that you're not aware of yet. You might have gotten some new gifts, some new experiences, some things that were revealed, that were uncovered. You may have leveled up in some areas that you might be missing from this over focus on the divine masculine, or from this over focus on the twin flame journey, on when reunion is coming, or even just consuming so many tarot readings that you're not actually doing any real work. Yeah, watching a tarot reading isn't doing work, by the way. I just thought that should be clear. So very intriguing to see the divine feminine building up a bit of a tolerance to some of the behaviors that got developed, possibly even just because it's a collective thing. It might be like the first thing that happens when you come into the collective fold of twin flames is that level one is like pure obsessive craziness. Why? Don't think it just means that if you're a twin flame, you must be crazy. Not everybody gets like that, right? But think about what you've just spent, how some of you spent days, months, weeks, even years not knowing what the heck was going on. All of a sudden, someone says, oh, is this your twin flame? I think that's your twin flame. YouTube says, are you a twin flame? And you're like, what's a twin flame? Am I? And now all of a sudden you go into this level. So you've been here. You've been all up in this little space here of not knowing, desperate for information, trying to figure things out. And then you find out that's probably why the first level, maybe you only experience the obsession and the oh my gosh, and the I need to be in union, and maybe you only experience that for a few days for some of you, but for some of you maybe it's weeks and months or even years where you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm a twin flame. And it's like, listen, level up and stop slipping back down to that level whenever you feel discouraged or even encouraged. It's like, make sure that you take things to the next stage, that you assess the situation, that you maintain awareness of what gifts you have, what new things have come, because all of that is also a part of being a twin flame. And many of you have been a part of this long enough, and it's time to go to the next level. I might have to start a twin flame series that kind of talks about a little bit more advanced twin flame stuff, because I do kind of get the sense that that might be what's missing. The problem is, you guys know how I feel about twin flame research, because there's just so many people who put out false information and they just make it up, and then everyone's like, oh, that resonates, and then we've got this new fact, and it's like, but where'd that come from? So that's the only hard part for me as a researcher, is like, I got to really find the information, but I think it's going to be necessary for the collective. So be on the lookout. Grace has got it. I got to figure that out. What can the divine feminine hear, I think, from divine when it comes to making these shifts to be more focused on, I guess, the grand scheme, right? Like having a broader scope rather than having this tunnel vision, especially when we might get into like a fear vibe. What can the divine feminine know moving forward to, I guess, have some faith in, to really, I don't know, even some confidence, I think. What do we need to know? I feel like we need to go here. So, first of all, remember who you are, okay? Please. You are the high priestess. You are this knowing, like, you're beautiful. Not just even spiritually, or not just physically, not just mentally, like, you're beautiful. So be patient with yourself, be patient with the situation. And remember that as you continue to level up in your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, you're going to have to consider a lot more of the scope. You're going to need that. So again, like, if you remember when I said I felt like there were two things that had to happen at the same time, which is why I really felt like this was like a planned event, I get the sense that this had to happen. It was like you had to get the sense that maybe you were being a little bit ridiculous in some areas so that you would level up. Because if you didn't level up, then you would have kept being ridiculous in those areas and not knowing it. But then some things could have still happened from that. But we prefer them to be higher vibrational things, so we're going to go with that. We're going to go with that direction. And it's like, listen, everything that we put you through, somebody commented this on the channel, and I've always loved this saying. Even when I was a kid, everyone always said it, you know, God doesn't put more on you than he knows that you can bear, right? And it's like, everything I put on you is either a trigger, a test, it's all to help you. It's never going to be to hurt you. I have beautiful plans for you, and I keep putting these things on you because I know you can do it. So the next time you get frustrated and you feel embarrassed because of how you're responding to your twin flame journey, or how you can't seem to let go of your DM, or whatever's going on, and the next time you get the sense that, you know, you realize fully that you have not been being the light worker you're supposed to be, and you're kind of embarrassed about it, like, oh my gosh, and maybe I've known it for a while and I keep ignoring it. I keep pretending that I've never heard the word light worker. I keep pretending that I've never heard Grace explicitly tell me that as a twin flame, I am a light worker. And I keep pretending that the discontent and the unhappiness and the gnawing I feel at my soul isn't happening. But deep down, I know. I really, really, really need to get going. That, everything that's happening is because it's time. So trust it, and also make sure that every time you level up, as you go through these steps of keeping yourself right, keeping yourself able to cope with everything you're dealing with, having to always be the bigger person, always having to feel like you're waiting on your divine counterpart, everything that you're dealing with is exactly what it's supposed to be. And if you can remember that in those moments where it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be that, you won't feel as low. You won't be as 3D minded. You'll be a little bit more 5D minded, where you can see things from a bigger perspective. Because that's how the only way for you to see things from a larger perspective and have the scope that you need, that's not so tunnel vision, is to get out of your 3D. If you can get out of your 3D and you can focus more on the 5D, then you can see things. Why? Because you can't see the forest for the trees. And right now, when you're in the 3D, you're in the forest. It's when you allow yourself to feel from another space, to see through another eye, if you will, right? If it's in those moments that you're able to look at things from the new perspective. And that's what we're trying to get you to do when we encourage you to slow down and to look at things from a new perspective, to be the Queen of Swords, to focus on your light work. Because your light work, I don't know about you. Have you ever, some of you, again, you're creators like me. So, you know, maybe you've written a book or a poem or a song, and that feeling you get when it's done, it's like, I'm alive. That's how you feel when you do what you're supposed to do. And that's what you've been missing this whole time. And that's all they're trying to get you to sense. And when you feel alive, you can deal with more. And it doesn't feel as heavy to be the bigger person and to be the divine feminine in the relationship where it seems like the DM kind of gets to get away with a lot. You know, it doesn't feel as bad because you're so full and you're so alive and you're so happy and you're just blessed to be a blessing that you don't see things the same way. This is deep. So what do you need to know? Wow, taking you right back. This is a cycle right here, okay? So right now, if you're like, this is how I feel, Grace, I feel the Four of Cups. I got my arms crossed. I feel frustrated. I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I should be in union. And until I get into union, I can't be a light worker. I'm bored. I'm tired. I want to reach out to my DM, but I can't. And now I'm starting to get anxious about that. I've got all this pent up energy. What am I supposed to do? Level up your spirit. And whenever you get to a point in the spirit where you're like, oh, I'm feeling restless, I need to do something, go be a light worker. Meddle in something that's meant for you to meddle in and get out of your DM's business. And guess what? If you happen to be a DM watching this right now, one of my rare divine masculines, whether you are male or female, and you are the one who's actually having to kind of take on the divine feminine collective energy, right? Because it's mostly the divine feminines who experience that. I'm talking to you too. Don't come in here and watch these readings where I kind of tend to focus on the DF if you know that you kind of act like the DF in terms of the readings itself, and then ignore the message because it's like, oh, you ain't talking to me, Grace. I'm talking to you too. Take every message for what it is. If you hear a message about the divine masculine, don't say, oh, even though that kind of resonates and I probably should be changing too, and I know we're mirrors, I'm going to ignore that because she didn't say my name. She didn't call me out. I'm talking to you too. Allow the feeling that you have that this isn't enough and that you need more, allow that to create a sense of urgency in your spirit to build, and to build. Your empire awaits. Your empire awaits. Sheesh, man. This moon energy is real, real, real. Okay, so we're going to go final questions. This is the last chance. I will ask one last time. Do you have any questions for the collective, not personal questions, any questions for the collective for Twin Flames? I'm going to answer a last couple things and then I'm going to move forward. But I just saw something. It says, I just want to give up completely. I hear people do that all the time. Don't worry. In fact, some of y'all comment on the videos on the channel and be like, F my DM, blah, blah, blah. And then don't remember that you said that and that I saw it and don't think I pay attention. And then you come back like a week later, like, I love my DM. So don't worry. People decide they want to give up all the time. Some people actually do give up. Some people think they should, but then they go back and forth about it and they spend most of their time being stressed about that, right? There's all kinds of things that happen when it comes to that. So what should you do, spiritually speaking, when you feel like giving up on your twin flame journey? Because most of the time it's not even about, like, you think it's about your person not reciprocating, but it's probably nothing about them at all. It's probably something personal, some part of you that's tired, or some part of you, again, that's approaching this twin flame thing the whole completely wrong way and then trying to blame your counterpart on that, right? So when you start to feel like you need to give up, what is it you need to remember? Let's go here. Wow, look at that. That union is around the corner. It's quicker than you think. Like, what's coming through is not going to be something that you expect. The healing that you need is going to come with union, sure. But that doesn't mean that you don't already have what you need now. So don't think that you have to wait on that to get what you need. Everything comes in perfect timing. When you feel like giving up, that may very well be you focusing too much on what you don't have and allowing the lack to stress you out, rather than you focusing on the good and focusing on what makes this what it is, what makes this special, and how to create more of that energy, how to build on it, how to capitalize on it. If you feel like giving up, don't. If you feel like giving up on being a twin flame, maybe you're supposed to step away from it. I never tell anybody like, no, please don't leave. I'll be like, go on and get. Go on and get. If you're supposed to be a twin flame, you're not going to be able to escape it. And if you're not supposed to be a twin flame, then go on and get. That way you can live your best life. And if there's something happening in the middle there, don't worry, it'll all work out. But for those of you who are like, I don't know, I just go back and forth and I kind of need a little something, just remember it's closer than you think. But it's also going to be perfectly divine and there's nothing you can do to force it. So don't stress, focus on the good and it will work itself out in perfect divine timing. All right. Does Mercury retrograde have effects on the twin flame journey? Now, I will tell you guys straight up, pretty much all the energies that you are aware of, they affect you as much as you let them affect you. And I say that very strongly, even though I'm not an astrologer, but as someone who is so aware of energy, because it's all just God, like all pieces of God, again, anyways, I'm so aware of it that I know stuff is happening even though I don't study astrology. And it's like, it's not even about like, oh, I'm so great. It's just, I feel it, I'm aware, I pay attention to it. And so when I hear someone say, oh, it's Mercury retrograde, I don't go in and go, well, I guess I'm just going to have a terrible 6 weeks or however long Mercury, it's like, I don't go in and go, well, I guess it's just going to be the worst day in the world. Hum-de-dum-dum. I don't do that. And so I think a lot of people just give into it a little too easily and a little too quickly. So that has very little to do with like the twin flame part of it and just more so about whether you have intrinsic, extrinsic beliefs about influence, motivation, etc. So that's another story. On the other side, I feel like people who are not aware of it, They wouldn't know in the first place, right? Does your DM know it's Mercury retrograde? I saw a post one day, a Twitter post, what's it called? A tweet? I saw a tweet one day that said, you need to listen to your girl, man. My girl said earlier that Mercury's in Gatorade or something like that. I don't know, but she be knowing. And it's funny because they don't know what that means. And so it's not going to impact them the same way that's going to impact you. But let's get a little bit of message about exterior energies, right? Because personally, I don't believe that any energy ever was designed to go against us, was designed to go against the twin flame community or even people in general. And so to think that like, oh, Mercury retrograde or any other retrograde or any other like shift was meant to harm or create dissonance or problems, I just don't actually believe in that kind of idea or that concept or that so it's hard for me to approach it. But what I can do is say, what can we understand about how these energies are moving forward? And again, under the assumption that they're working in our favor, because it's not really logical to me that they would be working against us. So what do we need to know? Wow. Okay, 2018 yet again comes up. I don't know who you guys are out there where that 2018 thing like hit really hard, but that reading was one of the most popular readings I'd done in a really long time. The one I did the other day where I talked about that. So for some reason this comes up. And I wonder if this says, yes, energy is valuable, but think back to 2018. For 2017 and 2018, actually, I guess it was 2018 was probably one of the worst years of my life in terms of what I would tell someone. Like if they're like, tell me about 2018, I'd be like, that was a bad year. But in terms of my light work and my spirit, it was actually really good. And I think what they're saying is the approach that you have to the way you receive insights or to like how they influence your life needs to shift a little bit. Because again, I guess if you're going in with the assumption that not all energy is good for you, or that it doesn't, like God doesn't have like a good design or good intentions for you, then of course you're going to receive the insights and it's going to create some confusion or even a bias. And so I'm just kind of getting here. It's like, listen, make sure that you really are approaching these situations honestly. Make sure that your spiritual perception is accurate. Make sure your spiritual perception is accurate. 2020 vision. Because some of you are still thinking and understanding from a frame of mind of where you were a couple of years ago. And you should be approaching energy in a new level of understanding. Look at this. Notice something. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We've got the face and the angel, the face and the moon. And I think that what this says is, no matter what your belief is, and no matter how you approach this situation, and no matter what you think the cosmos means, some of you think that you can manipulate the future through, knowing it, right? So then like working in the system of the future, or spells like, manipulating, impacting future outcomes, manifestation. Some of you really believe you can do a lot more with it than you actually can, and you spend a lot of energy spinning your wheels. It's not to say that you can't influence things that's impossible, but some of you, the way you approach astrology might actually be really unhealthy for you. I believe, and again, this is just me, and we may have different beliefs too. So please, if you're strong in your beliefs, I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong. It's just, this is again coming from a standard of my belief system, my coaching as a twin flame, as an intuitive. Some of you need to start to approach astrology, right? Horoscopes, which I really don't recommend horoscopes, but things like that where we're looking at specific energies, even birth charts, and take a little less of the exterior influence approach and start to look at things and say, okay, maybe I was given the ability to look at the stars and the alignments and know the energies, not to either be told, here, have a bad month because it's Mercury retrograde, or to be told, hey, it's Mercury retrograde, so go con a bunch of people and manipulate them while they're messed up and you're not. But maybe it was just so that I could be aware when things are happening of what's really happening. Again, In the Bible, it says don't use divination, but then it also tells you to be aware of times and seasons. Why give us something to have or any awareness of, but then also say, oh, but don't touch it? It's saying, no, no, use it well, use it correctly. It helps you to remain sober and vigilant, but it should not be something that you try to trick. You cannot trick divine. And I think that right now they're just saying, don't try to use this for or against you. And also don't have even a lower vibrational understanding of that, saying, oh, if it's something that might be traditionally viewed as negative, that energy must mean I'm going to have a negative time. Oh, Mercury retrograde means I'm not going to hear from my DM, or that if I do hear from my DM, that they're going to ghost me. Like, stop that. That is unhealthy. That is not accurate. And there is way more involved than one planetary alignment that you happen to be aware of in that moment influencing your energy. You understand? So I think, again, you notice how a lot of the things that are coming up, and I notice that some of it is very specific things, I believe. So I know, again, it could kind of be like a little weird for some. But do you notice how a lot of it is like really specific, particular ways of approaching our understanding of spiritual concepts? I'm telling you, the divine feminine is leveling up right now. There's a lot that's happening. Some of you are not going to shift your belief just because of what I just said, but you may end up having a new understanding within your own belief because of it, right? It starts a train of thought. And so again, I just have a feeling all of you who are here were meant to hear this, because we're all light workers. We're all a part of the collective. And when you level up, we all do. It's like our entire company, Twin Flame Corporate, we all level up as a company. We all get it's the annual bonus. That's why we keep seeing the pentacle. Okay. Hold on. I have one more question. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm sorry. I just needed to say this. All right. What do we do when we're having moments of doubt about our twin flame? Now, this is not going to be a thing that says, oh, if you're having doubts, you must be a false twin. That must be. No. It simply means whether this is my real person or not, whether I am, right about the fact that I'm a twin or not, like whatever. When I have that moment of doubt, when I have those fears, when I have something that comes up that seems like I just can't shake it when it comes to my twin flame journey, what is it that I can keep in mind, especially from a space of spirit moving forward? Wow. Okay. We have the Seven of Wands and the Four of Wands. Wow. I mean, the message is pretty clear. It says prepare for union. When you feel unsure, prepare for union. When you feel like giving up, prepare for union. When you're wondering what's really going on, prepare for union. Now, here's the question. What does union mean to you? How can you clear the path, prepare the way to take the leap and jump the broom, but also not know what you're leaping into, but also not know, you see? So take the time when you're feeling low to ask yourself what you're moving towards, to remember that great things take time, that Rome wasn't built in a day, right? All these different ideas that we kind of throw away because they're cliches. We throw away because it's like, oh no, maybe I'm not supposed to focus on that. Well, Grace, I thought you told me not to manifest. So why would I focus on what it is that I want? Because again, y'all can be Mr. and Mrs. Technicality if you want to, but you're not going to, just remember, I can go all day. So if me and you are going to sit down and have a chat, right? Let's say you order a session with me and you're like, let's have a coaching session, Grace, and you try that with me. We could spend the whole session doing it, but you're not going to win the conversation. So do that really, really quick. Just check yourself sometimes and ask yourself, am I being difficult and contrary on purpose because I don't like the answer? Am I being difficult and contrary on purpose because I feel like what you're asking me to do sucks and I want you to admit it? Before I move forward, it's like, don't. Figure out what you want. Figure out what it is that's going to make you happy in the end and work towards it, regardless of how you're feeling in that moment, because either you're in or you're out. So prepare for union is the answer. If you're questioning twin flames, if you're wondering about your counterpart, if you're wondering if it's the person, you have two choices. You're either in or you're out. Now, if you're out, that doesn't mean you're out forever. And if you're in, that doesn't guarantee you're a twin flame. It simply means that you've chosen to take on the mental, I'm going to say sane mental approach, right? The sane mantle that says either I am 100% about twin flames and everything it encompasses, including being a light worker, being positive, being patient, understanding that there may be separation, there may be, whatever. Again, these are the terms we use. There could be catalyst energy, false twins, blah, blah, blah. Understanding all of that, I'm still in. Or I'm out. But if I'm in and I believe that, even on my worst days, I'm preparing for union. Period. All right, so let's get the final energy. Divine says, come on, remember, look at Divine Feminine. You're always going to have a closer connection to Divine being the vessel. So don't let the sense or the feeling, don't let 3D or cultural expectations or norms roll. There's all kinds of things that are impacting your union journey that you may not be reflecting on. There's all kinds of things that are impacting the approach you have to twin flames that you may be ignoring. So looking at this, it says, listen, Divine, God, Source, Spirit, Universe just wants you to focus on the good. Make good decisions based on knowing that if you are truly a twin flame, there's nothing that can stop this train. Nothing. Why? What are you forgetting about this? It's because it's going to have hard times sometimes. It just is. That's not going to change. And if you keep having this wishy-washy approach to being a twin flame and this wishy-washy approach to being unconditionally loving, you're going to have a really confusing time with all of this. Okay? So finding your own consistency in this, being able to clear away anything that doesn't matter, to be objective the best that you can, and to laugh it off when it gets tough. This is going to change everything about your journey, and it's going to allow you to maintain eye contact with Divine. Wow. Wow. What do we need to know in the 5D? Keep doing your work. Practice makes perfect. I know it probably seems like you're doing the same thing every time, but you're not. I'm trying to think like, I don't know. Okay. I don't know why I'm really focused on a sports metaphor right now, but I don't know the information for the sports metaphor, so I was like going to make up something silly. I don't know why, but I was like, Michael Jordan never left the gym. He was always shooting those free throws. But I was like, is that true? And then I was like, maybe it's Steph Curry who does that. But anyways, my point is, do you think that a star athlete, kicking a football, around into the goal over and over and over thinks this is stupid? Do you think that the basketball player making free throws thinks this is stupid? Do you think that the artist who keeps trying to sketch that hand, or sketch the curly hair or whatever that they struggle with, do you really think that anyone out there who's done anything that's worth anything looked at their stuff constantly and thought, I'm wasting my time, this is stupid? The answer is yes, they have, and they still did it anyways. So you got tricked just now, because you probably started to feel guilty and go, no, you're right. No, they probably thought, this is dumb. I'm going to never pick up a basketball again. I will never pick up another paintbrush. This is stupid. I'm quitting art school. Like, I'm sure it happened, but they did it anyways. And I'm sure it was weird to have a sketchbook full of the same hand over and over and over because they were trying to get the knuckle just right. But you know what? They got the knuckle just right. You're going to get this right. You're going to figure this out. You're going to do well. And you're going to find your balance. Things are coming back around. And unfortunately, this might not be something that you want to hear, but this is what I've been, channeling, intuiting for quite some time now. The last 10 years We're a part of a very negative cycle. Now again, does that mean that you necessarily had the worst 10 years? Not necessarily. Doesn't necessarily mean that you would look back and think that was the worst 10 years of your life, but I think many of you would be like, no, Grace. I saw it, I felt it, it was. And guess what? You still kept going, you still kept pushing. And now, the next 10 years, what goes up must come down, right? Equal and opposite. We're about to have such an amazing bounce back. I've been warning y'all for years about this. I think it was trying to explain to be prepared for 2019, 2020. But again, I told you guys 2019 was the year of the reverse tower. Nobody wanted to believe me. I keep trying to explain this, and all I'm saying to you is you're going to continue having to make perfect through practice. And some days you're going to think this is stupid, but it's not stupid. Some days you're going to think I did the exact same thing yesterday. No, it wasn't. It was that much better. It was, even if it was 1 second faster, you're getting better, stronger. You're doing your thing, okay? Why is this so important to remember, not just for ourselves and our counterpart? Why is this so important to remember in the grand scheme of our journey? Because your happiness changes everything. Now, isn't it interesting? What do we have? Oh my goodness. Back here, Queen of Swords. What does it say? Hey, listen, good things are coming. Just keep your mind right, okay? Because if you don't have good things on your mind, you're gonna make bad decisions. You're gonna be impatient. Your health isn't gonna be right. And then we get over here, and it's like, okay, so spiritually speaking, keep going. Don't give up. Why? Because these things that you need to create the future you want, which is a clear mind, objective thinking, general base level happiness and homeostasis so that you can keep giving more, these things are not found in the places you've been looking. And you gotta go somewhere different. You gotta go somewhere else. Some of you, the reason why you can't be with your divine counterpart right now is because you are going to fall into the lie that they are what's supposed to keep you happy. No human being, no animal, no creature. There's really nothing out there that you should ever give all of your joy and happiness to. There isn't. So right now, they're just, I think God, source, spirit, again, whatever you believe in is just trying to say to you, please pay attention to me, right? Me, not me, Grace, me. Pay attention to me, your guide, your God, your source. Pay attention. I'm trying to show you something. Please don't give up, because you're almost there. You're doing a great job. Yes, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for hope and not a disaster. Pay attention to me. Remember me. Your guide, your creator, your God, your source is saying to you, what do you really believe about me? What do you really know about me? And why are you allowing negative energy from the Twin Flame Collective or readings or whatever, wherever you're getting your doubts and your fears or just your own personal issues to impact your overall life belief, which the reality is, you know who you are. You know you're mine, and you know you're protected, and you know you're blessed, and you know you're gifted. And yet ever since you became a twin flame, it's like you kind of pay attention to me, but then you give all this other attention to all these other readers and gurus and guides and your DM. What about me? God's saying to you, what about me? I'm trying to reach you because, come on. I know what's coming. I know the calamity ahead, but I also know every intention I had for you to make magic, to do things better. So stop believing in the worst. Stop expecting things to go wrong and just trust me and remember who I am in your life. Let's look at both of these as we close. Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine. Look at that. Divine Feminine, Queen of Swords, Divine Masculine, Three of Swords. Confirmation here that something is ending. A challenging period of our lives is coming to an end. A challenging period of our lives is coming to an end. And both counterparts need to be standing ready and willing in the gaps. And yeah, they might feel a little bit out of balance right now, but guess what? When the Divine Feminine takes up his or her sword, and the Divine Masculine is able to release one of those swords in their chest, in their heart, that's stopping them from seeing the truth and the reality, something will occur. Probably 11/11 is also going to be a major day after the 31st, if you will. You see me here, okay? These things are going to happen, and it's just going to allow both counterparts to step into balance, to walk through a union portal like nothing we've ever seen. And this is 3D stuff. This is a big deal. This is a major shift. This is a major change. And guess what? You're going to sense it. You're going to feel it. And it's something that you started to notice when Libra season kicked in. It's something you started to notice even, I'm going to say, about 6 months ago. But now you sense it. Now you feel it. Now you know. The divine masculine is no longer going to allow heartbreak and heartache to continue to impact them negatively. They're over it. They're done with it. They want to start to use this for something good. Why? Because they're tired of holding back. They're tired of holding back. They're over it. They're done. They want, ooh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I have too many things. Oh my, hold on. It keeps happening. Hold on. Pause. This just flipped out of the back, and then these two just flipped out of the back. What did I say? They're done holding back, and then boom, Knight of Swords. Really, what I see here is Page of Swords becoming Knight of Swords. Okay, that brings me back to the Seven of Swords energy, which I can even see and sense there. But what's this? Look at this. Five of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. 14, 15, being out of balance and in my ego has kept me stranded in fear and without any motivation or inspiration. That's why I'm done. That's why I am done with the pain and the heartache, because I see what it's done to me for far too long. Why is the divine feminine finally willing to align divinely with their truth, stand in the gaps, laugh it off when they have to, be very clear, be very objective, shift their perspective anytime it's required to be able to be everything they need to be, even when it feels like enough is enough. I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and you can't put more on me. Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. That's you just keep like, no, please, no more. And then you go anyways. You wake up and you say, I'm tired, and you go, oh, you're scared, but your voice is shaking, but you speak the truth anyways. It's like those moments where you almost give in, you almost give up, and you do it anyways. Why has the divine feminine decided to say yes to that? To being that person, to taking on that role, to being the strong one, to being the sure one. Why? Holy freak. It's the Six of Cups. Oh my God. Oh my God. And yet again, we have 7 and we have 7. Yet again, we see the divine alignment. I know this was a long reading. I know there was a lot of information here. I know there were a lot of questions. It was almost like a pick a card combined with the twin flame reading, combined with a DM reading and a DF reading. It was all the information you probably could possibly need for quite some time. But it's almost like this was like a corporate meeting, right? Like this was one of our, like a gigantic Zoom meeting for the twin flame corporate offices. And I just feel like the alignment, oh my gosh, I just realized even that's 14. This is incredible. I'm telling you guys. You cannot ignore the messages. You cannot ignore the truth. And when you start to get the feeling that it's time to build momentum, you cannot ignore the call. Please do yourself a favor. Get into your divine purpose. Get into that divine will within you where you know who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. This card is standing out to me. Find your happiness. Find your joy. Because you're going to need it. You're going to need the happy home life. You're not wrong to want to be in union with your counterpart. I think a lot of you are like, Grace, you don't understand. I want to be with my person, not because I need them. I can do this. But Grace, I know that what I have ahead of me is a lot. It's really challenging. And all I'm saying is, it would just be great if they were by my side even now as I build towards that. Because I'm willing to sacrifice everything. I just want one good thing. And they're the one good thing in my life that's made me feel like, yeah, maybe I am a light worker. So Grace, I just, it's not that I'm really waiting on them. It's just that I know that I don't need them, but I need them. And it's like, I'm right there with you. I feel you. As my people would say, I figure deal you, dog. Like, I'm with you. I'm not trying to make you sound crazy. I'm not trying to tell you that you must be desperate if you want them in your life. All I'm saying is you have to be able to find those pieces of happiness without them. They are the bonus. They are the partner, but you are the individual. And if you are not in your fullness, the partnership wouldn't even matter. So find your happiness, find your joy, and please don't point to them and say, well, it's there, it's them. No, it's not. It can't be. I'm sorry, but no, I don't mean it can't. I mean, it can't. Like, you're not allowed. I'm not saying it can. I'm sure it's possible. I'm telling you, you're not allowed to do that. Okay? So, this was deep. This was a lot. If you need a reading, I have a sale going on right now, and I would get it while I can. There'll probably be other sales going on for the rest of the year. I try to, at the end of the year, do something special for you guys. But get yourself a reading, more so get yourself on the list, because I get backed up around busy energy times. And I'm telling you, with the retrograde, the full moon, let's call it the blue moon. Oh my goodness, the 11/11 portal, and it's 11/11/2020. This is a big one. With all these things, I'm just warning you now. Get yourself on the list. You can email me and get an auto reply back that'll walk you through what it's like to work with me, like what the steps are, thefierygrace@gmail.com. When you go to thefierygrace.com, there's more information than just my services. So you can also like learn more about me, who I am as a professional, who I am as an intuitive. You can read erotica. You can learn about how to start out your own homeless ministry. There's all kinds of stuff on the website that you can check out. So if you're interested in working with me in other ways, I have all kinds of services that I offer. I am a coach. I do have a degree in psychology, but there's a reason I did not become a psychologist or a therapist officially. I do prefer more of a spiritual approach to things because I think that that should be everyone's foundation. So if that vibes with you, there's all kinds of things that I offer, not just helping you check in on your DM or kind of have a personal reading, but I do phone sessions. I also do like long-term coaching. There's all kinds of things available. So if you're interested in working with me, if you're interested in, being a part of any of this, please do join us as a fiery friend. It's only $199 per month, and that can help support the channel and keep readings like this free, because these are really, really powerful updates, and having the support of the collective makes it possible for me to do these without feeling like, oh man, like, do I really have enough time? I got to focus on my clients. There's just something about it that makes me feel like, no, I owe you guys this content, and I know that you're watching. I know that you need it. I know that it's hitting. I know that it's a blessing. If you're interested in being a part of something bigger, I suggest that you start by sharing this reading. And I say that simply to say, I have been getting some interesting downloads over the past few weeks that are, I think, the reason why the last several readings that I've put out have been some of the highest view counts that I've had in a really long time. It just happens sometimes where I'll just get randomly, not like viral, not like that many people, but just a lot more viewers, and maybe even a lot of subscribers kind of at the same time around these certain energetic portals. And this is one of them. So please share the message. If there's nothing else that you want to do, like the message, comment on the message, make sure that other twin flames are seeing the things that you think to yourself, oh my gosh, this is a life-changing reading, or, she gave that nugget or that tidbit, even if you just share it and say, hey, just watch, 5 minutes from this time to this time, but make sure that you are helping to support what we're doing as a collective, and the other people in your life who you do know would benefit, make sure they're actually getting it. Because sometimes when someone sees a reading this long, they're not going to watch, right? Sometimes when someone sees a reading from a certain reader or from on a certain topic, a certain title, people just won't. So this is one of those readings, you guys, every so often you'll hear me say, please do share this one. This is one. If you want to be a part of the shift that's happening over the next couple months, this is one you're going to need to share. Otherwise, thank you for all the donations. Those of you who send me gifts, If you're interested, by the way, I'm making the next set of runes. So if you would like your own handmade runes tailored to you, the next set is the next batch. I kind of have to collect the stones over time. And so it takes me a little while to get all of those. So I have a couple orders already, and then I have some extra stones now. So if you're interested, go ahead and order. I'm trying to think, I think that's everything. So thefierygrace.com is my website. There is a huge sale going on right now for the blue moon and Halloween and all of that. Check out the website. Send me an email if you want the auto reply. I think that's everything. I'm sorry, guys. You can see I'm kind of like, woo. So, because that was a lot to come out in one reading. So, if you're still here and you made it this far, almost 2 hours, please comment. Ooh, I know. Comment 1111, 2222, or 123. And the reason I say that is because those numbers, I should have said this in the beginning, but maybe I wasn't supposed to say it till now. Those numbers have been showing up very, very heavily whenever I was thinking about doing this reading. Like every time I saw it, I would instantly get the message about this particular reading. So comment 1111 or 123 or 2222, or even just like 22, any repeating twos. And maybe people will see that and they will click this reading and know that this is for them. Okay, so that will be the confirmation. So help people out with that. All right, I'm out of here for real. I love you. I will talk to you soon. There's someone who's here right now. It's gonna be okay, okay? I don't know why you're crying, but it's gonna be okay. Oh man. I don't know why you're crying. I just want you to know it's gonna be okay. And I think that should be enough. Because a part of me feels guilty, like to not give you more. But I think that you have already been shocked out of it. So it's gonna be okay, all right? I need you to believe that though when you feel like this. All right.